as a content creator, if you're doing this for your job, it's very weary on the spirit.
She creates a lot of like Bookstagram, booktok. Is that what we would call it? Bookstagram?
Yes, I love my dragons. Okay, this is not judging. Fantasy is my favorite genre, but to be like, oh yeah, I read 100 pages a day is like, oh, like what nonfiction book are you reading? I was like, oh, I'm reading about dragons.
Hello, welcome to Just Send It. Today I'm here with Danielle.
Hello.
And Danielle, I'm so excited to talk with you. Are you excited to be here?
Yes, I'm very excited. I know I was telling you before, Sarah, that I just feel very flattered to be here. So I'm very excited to talk about Instagram, TikTok, social media, the whole thing.
Danielle's Instagram is a great and terrible library, which was so interesting to me when I first saw your Instagram handle because that's so like unique of a name. And I'm very interested just like first off the bat, like where did that come from?
Yeah, great question. It's a mouthful for sure. And between me and you and all of us, I guess, I've been thinking about changing it to my name. But where that came from was obviously as a book Instagram content creator, I was trying to think of a catchy name, a unique name. And one of my favorite series, YA fantasy series, when I was a like preteen, in middle school was A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. And I just thought that that could have been a cool idea for a play on words to kind of incorporate that into my username. And I did. I came up with other ideas, but that was the one that stuck.
Yeah. Oh, I love that story. That's really interesting. I was so curious like where that come from. Honestly, I'm not too much of a reader. I've recently gotten back into reading. I think you'd be proud.
Yes.
But I'm so interested, like what, if you were to tell someone like what your favorite book is, do you have a favorite book off the top of your head?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
It's The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Interesting.
But the reason I will say though, I always have to say it's a caveat to that is due to the emotional aspect of it that book and that story has for me. My dad was a huge Tolkien nerd his whole life, and he read The Hobbit to me when I was like 4 or 5 in preparation for when the movies came out, because the movies, I was 5 in 2000, and so like the movies were about to come out and they took me to see those when I was a child. So I've now since reread The Hobbit many times, and it's just I just love the story very much. And it's kind of, Tolkien is considered the kind of the grandfather of all fantasy, which is my favorite genre. So that's why. That's the whole spiel.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so special to like share that moment with your dad and have that memory.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. So I want to talk about like obviously your journey as a content creator. For everybody who does not know Danielle, she creates a lot of like Bookstagram, booktok. Is that what we would call it? Bookstagram?
Yes. It's again another mouthful, but yes, that is the nickname for like any platform. It's just book and then the platform attached, like Bookstagram, booktok, booktube.
I was gonna say, do we have booktube? I've never heard of booktube.
That was the original platform that everybody was on, was YouTube. And that's how I got started into, I wasn't a creator at that time, but that's how I got in the world, was through the OG creators on YouTube, actually.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so talk me through that a little bit. Like, how did you actually get started as a creator?
Yeah, great question. Well, first of all, I think that people our age we're chronically online anyway. We grew up in a digital age where all platforms were just becoming, I remember when Instagram became a thing when like I was in high school and whatever. So I was already online. And to kind of circle back what I was saying about booktube and book YouTube and all that, around like 2016, 2017, I was in my last year of college, and I started to really get back into reading as a young adult. And I did that through YouTube, and I started seeing all these content creators talking about books, and this was before TikTok, obviously. So this is before short form content became the king over all content as it is nowadays. And so I just got really involved in that when it comes to just, again, being an observer, being a fan. I was not making content or even commenting really, but that was how I got really back into reading. I got really more educated in like what books are being published now and what's popular and et cetera. And that's also how I found Bookstagram as well, because that's when the Bookstagram community was starting to become a little bit more popular. Right. So fast forward in 2020, we're all sent home for COVID, bored out of my mind. I had just I just closed on and moved into my condo that I'm still in now, and just so bored. And it was this fall around September, and I was like, I need something to do because I'm going insane. I was also like not drinking at the time, for health reasons. And I was just like, I need a distraction. as a quiet observer and a fan on book Instagram, and I'm like, well, I'm already reading all the time anyway. I have a lot of time on my hands. Maybe I can try it. And I was a little intimidated about it at first because I had other Instagrams that I had tried to take off in the past. I used to be super into makeup, and that didn't really go anywhere. And I used to have like a wine and book Instagram combo thing that was really just mostly wine. But then I wasn't drinking at the time, so I was like, I sunset both of those, and I was just like, do I really want to try another one? What are my friends and family going to think?
Right.
That's so embarrassing. But after a while, I was like, screw it. My boredom is overtaking my insecurity. So I just started it. I already told you how I came up with the name. And that is just September. So I'm coming up on 5 years, but September of 2020, I started it. I kind of knew what I was doing, but not really in the sense. And back then I wasn't posting any reels. So it was all just still posts. And it looked my feed looked very different back then that it does now.
I think we can all relate.
Yeah. And you're just like, ooh, Lord, girl, what were you thinking? But like, very different iterations over the years as I evolve as a content creator and as I gain more skills and all that. So yeah, that's how it started. And now it's taken off more than I thought it would, which I feel both grateful and it's kind of scary at the same time, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think so much of what you said is so relatable. Like, one of the things that just clicked in my head was saying like, oh, I was kind of embarrassed. Like, what would my friends and family think? Personally, I definitely dealt with that too. I think most content creators do, where there's that moment of like, I want to post, I want to do this thing, but I'm so scared of what people are going to think. Was there like a specific way that you kind of got over that? Or was it just like 3, 2, 1 post and don't look at it again and just pretend like everything's fine?
Yeah, first of all, it's a combination of that. I also still feel that way sometimes. I'm like, oh gosh, especially now, like the more popular it gets, there are people that from work that follow me and I'm like, oh God, I have to be like careful about what I post. I don't want to offend anybody, but also I want to be true to myself. And so I think that is something that you learn to get over and you learn to quell over time. It does take practice. But there was, I think, again, as I said, I think back then, 5 years ago during COVID, my boredom was just so intense at the time that I was like, I don't really care what people are thinking. And back then too, I wasn't really posting my face at all. It was all just books. So I figure, what could they judge anyway? It's just a stack of books and I'm just talking about books and whatever. But then the more you do it and the more you start to get a little bit of that reassurance from people that start to follow you, and it's very slow going in the beginning, you start to slowly gain confidence. And I do think that insecurity starts to very slowly bleed away. But that's always, I think that particularly for women too, I think like that's always going to be something that is a fear in the back of your mind of like, what are they going to think? Or are they going to judge me? And I still deal with that every day about other things as well, not just with my Instagram. But it's just something that I think just post the damn thing. It's okay if it flops, you just try again, and it's a lesson you have to teach yourself every time.
Yeah, you are totally not alone in that. Like I said, I think this is something that's incredibly relatable and I've experienced this too. But like take me back if you can at least, because I know you've had a couple of reels that have been like super viral. Like I saw you have some pinned on your page that are like 5 million views. I know that can almost be like a weird turning point for a lot of creators where it turns from like, oh, I have this like small little community of like people who, maybe 5 people are always commenting on my stuff. And then usually there's this turning point where things start to like pick up. And it kind of changes the way that you create content. It changes the way that a lot of times you show up. Yeah. I'm curious how that was for you. Like, did you experience something like that?
Oh, yeah. Because I didn't start making reels until a year after I started my Instagram. And I did so begrudgingly. I did not want to do it. I was one of those people that like, I didn't download TikTok until 2021. And I was one of those people that was like, I'm not downloading TikTok. It's all dances and it's all weird. That ship has sailed. I downloaded it and haven't been the same since. I literally downloaded it because I wanted they had a really popular filter at the time where it turned all of like green foliage into orange because we don't get fall here basically. So I was like, and I have a lot of green in my like green belt and like in my back like patio and stuff. That was why I downloaded TikTok.
Wait, that's hilarious.
It's so dumb. And so I literally like I made one reel. I think my first reel was me talking about like something dumb about a title of a book, and it was literally just a couple of seconds, and I had, I was being sassy in it, as always. I put my phone away, and then about, I don't know, 30 minutes later, I pick it back up expecting 10 views. I don't know. There were almost 3,000 views on it, which for me at the time, I was like,
you're like, what the heck?
What is this? And so then I started to make more reels, and that is how I've gained my following. Now, to go back to your question, absolutely. I don't remember which reel specifically that it was, but I just remember it is literally like a snowball effect rolling down a hill. It's like once one starts to kick up and get a lot of views, you really start to gain momentum. And this is actually in my full-time job. This is something that I try to advise for people who are just now joining social media and not sure how to do it. And like authenticity and consistency are the two key parts of gaining a following, because that momentum is really hard to get back once you break it, which can be very intimidating and annoying and time consuming. But I think it can also be very rewarding. And it was for me. And so I had several, and I like, my reels, I think, it's been interesting to watch the BookTok, Bookstagram. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but it's been interesting to watch the BookTok and Bookstagram communities morph a little bit, particularly on TikTok, because I feel like short form video content, and in fact, not just in the book community in general, isn't just about making like short jokes anymore.
Right.
It's all about people literally coming on camera and speaking their thoughts and sharing their opinions and speaking for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. And I'm like, well, I would be on YouTube if I wanted that. Right. So I will say it's been interesting as someone who very much isn't doing that kind of content on TikTok or Instagram. I'm still just trying to make silly, ridiculous jokes and voiceovers and whatever, or lip syncing to other people's voiceovers. It's just been interesting to watch that transition. But I do recall the one video that changed my Instagram was a video, and I don't even have it pinned anymore. And the reason for that is because it's not relevant anymore. Mm-hmm. It was a reel that I made about being single. I used to make jokes about being single all the time, even though that wasn't, my direct niche content that I make. It was still a big part of my life. I'd been single for almost 10 years at the time. I'm no longer single, which is why I didn't take the reel down. I just don't have it pinned to my profile.
I don't need that pinned anymore.
Right. And it was it was like silly. It was stupid. I was like, I'd be happy with maybe 10,000 views. That video got almost 10 million views.
What?
And it is to date my top watched reel. But I kind of shot myself in the foot a little bit with it because it had nothing to do with books.
Right.
And I started getting all of these followers, and I was like, well, they're gonna be a little upset or disappointed, or like, I don't know. They're gonna find out that I'm not posting about being single all the time. I'm actually just a nerd who happens to be single talking about that.
Right.
And so it was definitely a turning period, and it took a while for me to kind of get used to that. And then, you start to go through this imposter syndrome of like, well, if I'm not getting 1 million views on every single reel, then I'm not doing my job right, or I'm not doing well, or whatever, which, I've since come out the other side of that thought process. But it's something that you really hope for as a first-time content creator, or as someone who's just getting started. It's something that you hope for, but it can definitely be very overwhelming when it happens.
Yeah, it's so interesting that this conversation like veered in that direction, because actually our last podcast episode was all about this. I was talking with Mel, who is one of our recurring guests on the podcast. And we were talking about like the negative sides of going viral, how something can be, let's say that you post something that's totally out of your niche. Now, all of a sudden you get these followers that want something from you, and you're like, well, I don't necessarily want to be posting that. One of the things that you mentioned was about how you do have a full-time job beyond the content. And so I'm curious how you're able to balance that, because I think that a lot of us do both. What does that look like for you?
Yeah. Well, I actually have 2 jobs outside of my Instagram.
Dang, girl.
Trying to get that money. And the thing is, and I know that, Sarah, we talked about this a little bit off camera, but I actually don't make any money off of my Instagram anymore. My perspective on this might be a little bit different from other content creators, because since this is not bringing me any income, I do not prioritize it anymore as much as I used to. And I know that's probably not what a lot of people want to hear. But fact of the matter is I have, and again, I want to be very blunt if that's okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I have never wanted to be a full-time influencer. This was something that kind of, as I said, as we talked about, spiraled and snowballed, and I'm very grateful for that. And I still have fun with it. But I've always said from the beginning, if I no longer have fun with this account, I'm not going to do it anymore,
right?
Whether I'm making money or not. And so when it comes to how do I balance it, I don't know if I do it very well, if I'm being honest, but I just try to stay engaged with my community that I have worked very hard to build up. And I don't want to just not do it anymore. I still have fun. I've met such incredible people through this Instagram as well. And the reason why I think, if I may, I'd like to touch on as well, the reason why I keep harping on and focusing on Instagram is because although, as I said, I do have a TikTok, as I told you off camera, that has been an uphill battle to get to 10,000 followers. I'm at like
TikTok.
Yes, on TikTok. I'm at like 8,000 something, which means I can't join the creator fund. And I'm just like, God, and it can be such a kick in the chest when it's like you feel like you put all this effort into content and you think you're putting out, especially something that does really well on one platform and not the other.
Right.
Because this is not something that I actually earn income on at the moment. It is not something that I am going to prioritize because if, in my personal opinion, from my own experience in the past so far, social media can also be very emotionally draining. And I don't want to put any more energy into that when there's no real reward coming back. Whereas my other jobs are paying my bills and giving me benefits and all that. So I just try to have fun with it when I can. If I hear an audio that I'm like, oh, that's funny, I got a joke for that, I'm going to make it. It's usually very last minute. I'll really hear it and I'll set up my camera, film it, and then post it. And then I try to get creative when I can because I like being creative, but I try really hard not to let it consume me in a way that I think, honestly, I could let it if I wasn't more careful.
Right. Yeah, I really appreciate this conversation just because I think that there are a lot of content creators who do also have a full-time job or two or three or whatever on top of their content. And I do think that it's really difficult to manage it both, especially if you're somebody who does want to be a full-time content creator and you're kind of striving to do that. But I also know that there are a lot of creators that don't want to go full-time. They do it purely for fun. They do it because they enjoy it or it's like an outlet or a hobby. And I think that's also very valid.
Yes.
You know, like not everybody has to monetize everything that they enjoy, right? I am curious for you though, like, is that something that you'd be interested to do in the future? Like, have you ever thought of monetizing in terms of like brand deals, maybe working with like a certain book company or a publisher or I don't know, whatever that looks like for you, or even like affiliate sales of certain products? Like, have you ever considered that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I have done a little bit of that in the past, but again, I think it can just be really difficult to make sure you're balancing out that content, because I think something that that I'm very wary of, and this is just a personal preference thing. I don't think this is not me giving advice to anybody else. It's completely dependent on others' comfort levels. I try to be very wary when it comes to any kind of brand deals or any kind of affiliates, because the one thing I do not want my platform to come across is salesy. And because in my opinion, based off of how I have witness how I am on social media as a consumer and as a watcher, that turned me off immediately. Now, of course, it does depend on what the product is that they are sponsoring or whatnot. But to me, it's more important at this moment, at this stage in my life and in where I'm at with my social media. This could change, but it is more important to me to just stay true to my own brand and my voice versus just trying to get the money at this point. But yes, to answer your question, I have considered it. I've done some in the past. And again, I think that just from my own personal experience, I haven't seen a lot of that reward come back. So again, it hasn't exactly been as prioritized in my content as maybe it would in others. But I think, I say that though. And if like Book of the Month reached out to me tomorrow, was like, hey, would you want to make a video for us? I was like
heck
when?
yeah.
Tell
Yeah,
me how high
I
to
get
jump.
it.
So it's like, that is not a hard rule for me. I think that as of this moment, there hasn't just been like, I haven't been able to partner with somebody that I'm super excited about. Be like, I don't care if y'all think this is salesy. I'm excited and I love this brand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that what you're expressing is something that a lot of like consumers of content feel, right? Like when I see one of my favorite influencers put on their like ad voice, I'm like, ew, like, hello.
Like, yes.
But I think that's one of the things that, like, at least for me, I always try to talk to creators about and educate creators on this channel and things like that. Like, how can we as creators make money without making our audience feel uncomfortable? And I think that's like, it's a weird like fine line in a way where it can come across as salesy. It can kind of turn people off. But at the same time, like if you want to make it your livelihood, you kind of have to do it. Like this is kind of the way to do it. And so, yeah, I just think it's interesting to hear your perspective on that, because I think, at some point you might have to do it, but it's like you don't want to be awkward about it. So trying to be as natural as possible and also partner with brands, kind of like you were saying, that makes sense for your niche and for your audience, not just something random.
Yeah, and I think, you make a good point to it. It really comes down to a difference in goals for the content creator. Right. If you are trying to be a full-time influencer, absolutely you have to do brand deals. There's really no other way to make the big bucks.
Right. No, true.
Or I know we talked about TikTok Shop as well. Like doing that, if that is something that you want to do full-time, you're going to have to get over it. Or I would have to, in this circumstance, I would have to get over
the fear of selling.
Correct. Because like that's obviously, there's only so much in the creator fund for TikTok, for example, or through like Meta and Instagram.
You just can't rely on that for like a full-time income. It's just not going to work.
And it's going to be more steady that way through brand deals as well. And I think a conversation I actually have a lot of times, back to the part about authenticity. Mm-hmm. I have this conversation a lot because I think a lot of people struggle with what that really looks like and what that means online, because they think, well, I can't just be myself online. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Just like don't be afraid to be yourself. You're gonna find people, like, don't be afraid of people not liking you, because that's inevitable in life. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that overall with social media, that is what does the best, is being able to be as authentic to who you are and what you believe and what you like and what you dislike online, and being able to communicate that in a way that feels very relatable to others. And I think that if you're able, for those who are doing brand deals, if you're able to kind of, maybe you're more heightened professionally a little bit with your language for a brand deal, but if you're able to really weave that tone of voice that you have in your brand deals, I think it would do very, very well.
Yeah, I think that's when it starts to get awkward, is when a creator doesn't know how to do that, and then it feels super salesy. But again, like I think if you can master that of like making it feel like something that your audience is already caring about, and we can tell when it's a product that you literally do not care at all about.
Yep.
Like it's so obvious. Like you can see when someone, like I always use this as an example. Like if a Kardashian promotes something, like they're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Yes, content creators, a lot of times, they're getting paid because they have to put the, paid sponsorship label, the hashtag ad, which, by the way, content creators, I hope you do that, because we should always be disclosing our ads.
Yes.
But like, there's a way that content creators can make things feel a little bit less salesy. And I hope that people, like, at least anybody watching this kind of takes that to heart. Like, I know sometimes it makes people feel icky, but
yeah, I've seen videos of people who I didn't even know it was an ad until like, product placement, and they make it almost very obvious. I love, again, this is personal preference. This is not correct or incorrect, but I love that. I like people who are being very upfront about like, this is a brand deal. But to your point, like you can really tell when people are being authentic or when they are really passionate about something, because people nowadays can just sniff that out very quickly through the screen. Yeah. So I think the purpose, like the whole, to sum up this whole part of the conversation, is just be true to yourself. Don't be afraid to be true to yourself. But then, get your bag in however way you can, if that is what your priority is, for sure.
I'm curious, this is a topic that I always try to bring up with creators that I talk to also, like one of the biggest things that I think we all struggle with, and I kind of feel like it's in line with the authenticity, because when you are showing up as your most authentic self online, and maybe you're posting all the time or whatever, it tends to lead itself to burnout sometimes. Have you ever gone through a period of like content burnout and maybe talk about that?
Constantly, always.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard too, because again, you have that guilt of like, I gotta, as we talked about momentum earlier, and it's like, you gotta post something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, it's been 2 weeks, I haven't posted anything. I feel that constantly, especially as someone working other jobs, trying to maintain a social life, trying to maintain a relationship. It's like, I was actually having this conversation with a friend of mine not too long ago, and she was like, how are you balancing it? I'm like, I'm not doing it well. I don't think and at some point, like, something's got to give when it comes to your mental health, right? When it comes to social media, I know I mentioned this a few minutes ago, that it can be, I think anyone would agree that social media can be very mentally draining, even just as a spectator. And so as a content creator, if you're doing this for your job and you are chronically online always, and then getting comments and judged and all that, it can be very, I feel like it's kind of a woo-woo way to say it, but like, it's very weary on the spirit. And so yes, I go through this all the time, but again, I think that I'm in a kind of a different boat than a lot of others, than some other content creators, because I am allowed to take breaks since it's not my main mode of income. Right. So I feel very blessed in that way. I feel very lucky in that way of like, if I just need to put the phone down for a week, 2 weeks, a month, I can do that. And there's not going to be any really large repercussions for me. Yes, I might lose momentum, but that's about as big of a risk as I'm going to take. Whereas some people feel like they can't do that, because I'm like, I have to make money, and I have to make content. So, you know, I think that if I could give advice for anybody who is feeling that way, make as many drafts and content in bulk as you can. And then that way you can just kind of use old content and post it more passively, rather than feeling like you are constantly in the moment making new content. Or, you know, again, reutilize old content, repost old content as like a TBT or whatever. If money and monetization is the issue of why you're not putting the phone down. But I've always said, and I feel like this is very important, especially nowadays, don't be afraid to put the phone down when you feel like you are starting to get burnout, because that is your mind telling you like, hey, I need a break. I need a break from this, because I think at some point the well is going to run dry when it comes to creativity. I think it happens to everyone, and it's okay. Let yourself take the break. Even if it's just a weekend, you can take a weekend just to not be on your phone at all. Or even if it's to just, I don't know, passively scroll and kind of get some ideas from other content creators of how can you kind of revitalize your own content, kind of give it a more of a zhuzh and a refresh. So for me, I allow myself to take as many breaks as I feel like I need. But again, I want to reemphasize, I know that I'm in a position where I'm able to do that, and not everybody can, and I know it's tough.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you for even like thinking that way, because I think at least some content creators, it's harder to do it than others. Yeah. Like for me, I'm a social media manager. I can't. It's your job. It is my job and my content.
Yes, correct.
So it's hard. But yes, I think taking a break is really, really helpful. Obviously, even if it's just a break from content, like for whatever reason, if you can't delete Instagram, like I can't. But I liked a lot of things of what you said, taking breaks. And another thing that I would add to that too, like I know you mentioned filming in bulk. I always recommend batching content, especially for somebody who like feels the need to post every day or multiple times a day. Like there are going to be days where you do not want to put a camera in your face. And I know this firsthand because this is what I do. And actually, weirdly enough, for our other YouTube channel, Chronically Online, I'm doing a challenge right now. This is like a sneak peek. No one else knows about this. Only the podcast listeners. Top secret. I'm doing a challenge right now where I'm posting 3 times a day on TikTok for 30 days to see what happens. It is a lot. Yeah. I'm only on like day 5 or something like that. And it is a lot.
How long are the videos, if you don't mind me asking? Each? Like,
well, it depends.
Okay.
It fully depends. It depends. Sometimes it's like a day in my life. Sometimes I'm just trying to think of as many things as I can.
Yeah.
So I'm in this moment now where I'm trying to post so much that I don't want to hit this burnout wall, even though I know I'm just doing it for 30 days, but I would be interested keeping going with it. But the things that have helped me a lot have been batching content for those days where I already on day 5. There are going to be times where you just don't want to like put a camera in your face. Batch the content, have it in your drafts. Also, keeping a running list in my notes helps a lot. Like if I'm like in the shower and I think of something, I'm grabbing my phone and I'm writing it down and I'm saying, okay,
I do that too.
This is a good story time to film tomorrow, you know? Things like that, like having a running list, having drafts, like that is, I feel, how you keep content sustainable long-term if you're somebody who feels like you want to post consistently. Otherwise, like if you're just trying to like fly by the seat of your pants and post every day, like it is so common to burn out. I think that's the biggest problem, honestly.
And I gotta say, I feel like kind of made it easy for myself in the sense of like, because I almost only post jokes where I'm lip syncing other people's audios, kind of just makes it a little bit easier for me. I just have to scroll on social media and be like, oh, that's funny. Save the sound or save the video. And so I already have this huge bulk of audios that I can just pull from. And I'm like, even if I don't have an idea today, I might have one in a week or 2 weeks or even 3 months. And then as I've told you, sometimes I'll immediately come up with an idea and I'll film it right there. But I think that like, don't forget the like joke TikTok, like for like TikTok from 2021 and 2022. Like don't forget those videos as well. I know they're not quite as popular as day in the lives or like you coming on screen and speaking for a minute or 2 minutes, but like don't be afraid to switch it up too. I think like that's where I see a lot of content creators feel like they get in a rut because they feel like they're doing the same thing over and over and over again because they think something does well. And that's totally fair. But if you feel like you're kind of getting burnt out, don't be afraid to do something completely out of left field.
Yeah, I actually really I'm so happy that you said that because I saw a TikTok literally yesterday, I'm not kidding, from this woman who had like, I think over 1 million followers, something like that. She had a lot of followers. And she was saying that one of her biggest tips for any content creator is to mix it up all the time. Because if you find yourself getting stuck in one piece of content, then you're pretty much stuck in that one piece of content forever.
You pigeonhole yourself for sure.
Right. And it's really, really hard to pigeonhole yourself into something, especially when you're a human being who evolves and changes.
Yeah, I actually, I'm glad you said that because I'm kind of feeling that right now a little bit because obviously books are going to be my true love forever. Like I will be a reader until the day I die, God willing. I love books and I love collecting books, but I've already started kind of feeling, you know, I'm turning 30 tomorrow.
Happy almost birthday.
Thank you. But like as I turn, you know, I'm entering a new decade and I've done a lot of reflection, which is not the point of this conversation, but it makes me think like a part of me is kind of itching to, you know, maybe expand my content a little bit more, but that doesn't make sense with my current platform. It doesn't make sense.
But it can.
But even with my username, as we talked about. Right. And so, but then I'm like, do I change my username to my name? I could. So it's just a lot of kind of questioning what to do, whether to change. Do I start another Instagram just about lifestyle stuff? Do I have the time for that? And the answer is no, I don't. So it's just, you know, that has been very topical on my mind as well of like, do I feel like I've pigeonholed myself? Maybe not quite as harsh a word as that because I still mostly want to talk about books anyway. But it makes you question of like, is the following that I currently have, would they even want to hear about other aspects of my life? Maybe for some of them, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's so interesting that you bring this up. I love where this whole conversation is going, honestly, because these are things that so many creators feel. And I know this because I talk to a lot of creators and they all say the same thing. It's like, we all have these same like struggles. Like, am I niching down too much? Am I not niching down enough? Is my username bad? Is my post bad? Did I post at the wrong time? Like all these little things. But ultimately, my take on it is that you are the creator of your platform and of your content. And if you want it to go a certain direction, you might lose people, right? So like if you expand more into like lifestyle or whatever, like there are going to be people who drop off because they only followed you for XYZ and now you're posting all these other things.
Right.
But the right people always do make it to you. It just, sometimes it takes time. And it's funny that I keep feeling like this is a big promo for other videos, but it's true. I recently did a video on our channel. I'll put it in the description for anybody watching, but I did a video all about niche and about how is niche a bad thing at the end of the day. It's very much a gray area. And the conclusion of the video, not to like spoil it, but kind of, I interviewed some different creators who are very, very niche down.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of niche down creators regret their niche because kind of like you were saying, they're like, well, it's a big part of my life and I don't think it's ever going to change. Like it's who I am and it's the type of thing that I like. But what they mentioned was a lot of like, I wish that I could post more of this.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do, people don't really react to it. They don't comment, they don't like it, they don't, view it, whatever. So I think it is really hard. And I want you to know that you're not alone in that, like totally.
Yeah.
If you do make the decision to go more into lifestyle, just know like it does take time. But I hope that you know that you're not alone in that.
I appreciate that. And again, I think like as I've thought more and more about this, and something that kind of started to really trigger this is that I kind of want to do the 75 hard challenge, which yeah, well, that's a whole other conversation of itself of why I even want to do that. But like I want to challenge myself this year, but I was like, where would I need accountability. And so I was thinking maybe I could take followers with me on my journey and post every day to help me stay accountable. But then I'm like, that's just so not my current brand at all, except for the read 10 pages a day, but that's still nonfiction. I don't read a ton of nonfiction. I don't post about it very much. So it's still, again, not quite in my brand, in my niche. And so I started thinking like, well, that's why I'm like, do I change my name so that it's just all encompassing and not book specifically? But I love my username though. And it means a lot to me. So anyway, it's a conversation I think that eventually all content creators get to this point of like, have I niched down too much, as in your words? And I want to start creating other content, but I don't know if it's going to be content that my followers want to see. And it's a dilemma.
I say go for it.
Thanks, man.
I say go for it.
We'll see.
I think that's awesome. Maybe you can make your own version of the 75 hard challenge and like incorporate books into it more somehow.
I know. Yeah. I was talking to my friends about that too. And they were like, well, why don't you just focus on the books part? And I'm like, cause it's just 10 pages a day. I read like,
so like do more.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I read like almost 100 pages a day. Like,
God,
and
that's
I'm
so
like,
impressive.
well, that's just, again, I'm a big nerd and something's wrong up here. That's
no,
why. But, like,
no, yeah, it's a good good hobby to have.
Well, I think it depends on the book. Come on. I mean, reading about, I love my dragons. Okay, this is not judging. Oh, fantasy is my favorite genre, but to be like, oh yeah, I read 100 pages a day is like, oh, like what nonfiction book are you reading? I was like, oh, I'm reading about dragons, and because I love dragons, and that's why I love my favorite fantasy, or my favorite genre is fantasy, as I said. But anyway, I appreciate that. But yes, I do read a ton. So their advice was like, we'll focus a bit more on the book side. So it's a good idea, and I will keep mulling it over.
Yeah, it's something you could definitely do. Or, maybe change it to your name. I've honestly known a lot of creators that exactly what you're going through. It's the same thing. And actually, I technically did that too because I was a ballet dancer and then I left ballet. So like my username was always Ballet Sarah Gav. Everybody knew me, Ballet Sarah Gav. But then I was like, well, I'm not that girl anymore. So I had to change it. That's why I usually always say like, well, just do your name. This way you can change as a person. But like if reading is always going to be part of your thing, then like I would just keep it. Yeah. Especially because you love your name and it has a meaning to you.
Yes.
Like it's not random.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
Anyways, to change the subject from this. Sorry, I know we went on a tangent.
No, I love it.
So I'm curious, like what is your, I guess, next goal like as a creator? Like are you striving towards anything? Are you in like a little hiatus period? Like what does that look like for you?
That's a great question, actually. I'm like nervous. I don't even know how to answer because I do, a part of me does kind of feel like I'm in this hiatus. May not be the right word because I'm still posting. Definitely not. I was going through a period where when I was really gaining followers, I was doing a post and a reel every day. And now I post maybe once every week, every 2 weeks. And then my reels are every several days. So it's not consistent. Breaking my number 2 rule. So to answer your question, I feel like I am kind of in this holding pattern a little bit of like, I don't know what's next for my social media. On TikTok, it's 10,000 followers, as I've said.
That's
I'm
your number goal.
I'm not trying to be famous. I just want to make some money. Damn it. Am I allowed to swear? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
You can cut that
We're
out,
chill
but-
here.
okay.
It's all good. No, I get it. I think it's also hard though because like there's always something that we strive for next. Like, oh, when I hit this, then I'll blah, blah, blah. When I get to this point, if only I can get to that, then I can do this. But at the end of the day, like even the creator fund, it's not that much money. Like a lot of times it's not a lot.
I also just want to make playlists. I can't even make playlists on TikTok. Yes.
Wait, what?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I can't. Last time I tried, like, because I have a segment on my Instagram where, and if anyone that follows me is watching this, they'll know what I'm talking about. But I have this, I didn't come up with this. I just started doing it, and I've been doing it consistently for about 2 years. But I have a little TBR, to be read jar that I pull from.
Oh, that's so cute.
And I read multiple books at a time, but like this way I can kind of start to get through my very, very long physical TBR of I hoard books, and that's a whole other issue. But, and I want to put those, since that's like the same kind of video every time, I want to make a playlist where people can find it. And like, those are mostly what I'm thinking about. Cause I just have like this whole corner of books that cause I get a lot of books sent to me, which I feel very blessed about and lucky about from publishers and such. And it's just piling up, and I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to get through all of those. So one day.
Honestly, if I can just chime in on my own, I guess, goals.
Yes, please.
I don't like setting follower goals personally. I get it. And I get why people want to. And I get why you want to hit 10K. I totally get it. Like, don't get me wrong. But I feel like sometimes focusing so much on the numbers puts me in a really bad like headspace.
Oh, totally.
Personally.
Yeah.
I get really obsessive. I'm someone who loves metrics. I love numbers. I love analytics. Like, I'm very, I don't know, I guess data oriented. I don't know. It's not very on brand for me, but I guess I am. I definitely am. But when I focus too much on the numbers, like it freaks me out. And I stop being creative because I'm focusing so much on going viral.
Yeah.
And I think that's really hard because like then you start creating content just for numbers instead of creating content that you're enjoying.
Right.
And
totally.
that sucks.
Yeah.
So like personally for me, like my goals right now are like get more consistent, like feel comfortable posting every day, or like something like that, you know, or like get a brand deal next month. Like smaller goals for me, I feel help me more than like just a number goal.
Yeah, that's such a good point actually too, because I think that because the numbers can fluctuate too. I remember there was a period where I wasn't posting very much. This was a few years ago, but like I wasn't posting very much at all for like 2 or 3 months, and I lost like 8,000 followers or something.
Wow.
But again, remember though, this was around when I was getting all those followers from the single video. So people were realizing that, right. So it's like, to your point, getting so focused on the numbers can be just really discouraging when you're not hitting that. And it's more of a blow to your confidence. And like, and that's something I think that definitely is important to that confidence level, even if it's not perfect. Like it's important to maintain a little bit of that when you're creating content, because at the end of the day, you are putting yourself out there in some capacity.
Yeah.
So that's a really great point.
Yeah. As we kind of wrap up this video, which was awesome, by the way, I want to ask you, I think it's often that we forget this, but there's going to be somebody who's watching who like admires the fact that you have as many followers as you do and you get as many views as you do and you're so creative and you create these funny videos that are just like awesome. There's going to be somebody who's looking up to you, right? So think about that person who is wanting to create content but like has no idea where to start and is feeling stuck. What kind of advice would you give to that person?
Yeah, it's a great question. If you are somebody who is wanting to make content and wanting to be a content creator, the first thing that I would suggest is find something that brings you joy, because this is going to be something that you are now, eventually, this is your goal. This is going to be something that you are going to tie monetarily into your way of living. And I think that, I think anyone would tell you that immediately will suck the joy out of things, only because it's stressful. It's stressful to make money and to earn a living. So I would say find something that, if you want to be a content creator and do that full time, find something, a piece of content or a niche or an activity or whatever it is that brings you genuine joy, that you're going to want to do every day, or that you're going to want to talk about every day. Don't feel like, I know that, you know, today we've talked about getting too niche down. On the flip side of that, if you're getting started, don't feel like you have to do everything all at once.
Right.
Allow yourself to take baby steps, because you just have to start somewhere. You just have to start posting, and it doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat. As we talked about, authenticity. If they're the two things that I tell my clients, two things that I try to adhere to my own content. And if there's anything that anyone watches this remembers, authenticity and consistency are the two main ingredients for a successful social media platform. No matter what platform you're on, it could be LinkedIn. It doesn't matter. So I would say just be true to who you are, be true to what you love, and you're gonna find people who see that and agree with it and relate to it. And they're going to love you for that. But don't feel like, as you start to create content, as I said, don't feel like it has to be perfect right off the bat. It is a learning experience for everyone. Every content creator, no matter if they have 10,000 or 10 million followers, are learning with every video or every post that they are putting out online. And so that's something that you can jump on that bandwagon as well. And I feel like a lot of times what I hear from people is like, well, there's so many people out there doing it. Who would want to listen to me? No one is you, though. So like no one's going to have the perspective and the opinions and the life experience that you have, right? So that's the bulk of my advice. I think just don't be afraid to get started. Start somewhere and find something that you love to talk about, because you're going to have to talk about it a lot, at least in the beginning.
Wait, that like spoke to my soul. I loved all of that. Thank you for sharing that, seriously, because I think it's really easy to forget. Even somebody who does this all the time, it's easy to forget.
Also, don't compare. Sorry, I have one more thing.
No.
Just like don't compare. I think we've all heard comparison is a thief of joy or whatever that is. And I do not say that lightly. I struggle with comparison every single day, all day, about everything, all the time. It is just constantly in my brain.
It's a perfectionist thing. Yes. Are you a perfectionist? Because I have that tendency.
Yeah, I'm weird. I'm not really type A, but I am perfectionist about some things. And I want to do things well. I want to be proud in my work and whatever. And it's so easy to be like, oh, man, why didn't I think of that? I should have done that first. Or this person made the same video as me, but they got 1 million views and I got 5, try your hardest not to compare yourself, because there's always going to be things to compare forever, and it's only going to get in the way of you being productive as well. So just wanted to that came in my brain as well.
I'm so glad that you brought that up. Again, that's something that I've always struggled with too. So great advice. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. I think this was really, really helpful and really insightful.
Just reflecting on our conversation, I know that, again, I am in a very peculiar, different shaped boat than other content creators are when it comes to my own priorities and my goals and how I look at social media. But at the end of the day, I'm still in it, and I want to have fun with it. I never want to lose that joy part of social media and what it can bring, and just bringing happiness and maybe just a bit of a bright light to people's day. And that's what I try to do with mine. And so I hope nothing that I said, and you can edit this out if you want to, but like I don't want anything that I said to be discouraging, but I also don't want to sugarcoat anything, because it is tough, but it can be very rewarding depending on what your goals are and what you want to get out of it.
No, I want you to know that I definitely appreciate the honest conversation, because my goal when starting this podcast with Manychat was honestly to bring all sorts of creators that have all sorts of experience, because at the end of the day, we're all different, and there's going to be somebody who's watching this who completely relates to every single thing that you just said, and someone else who might not, and that's okay too. You know, we're so different. So
you can't make everyone happy too. That's other bit.
Another piece of advice, because man, not everybody's going to like you.
No, or they're going to find something like, oh, your hair looks stupid. Okay. Thank you for that comment.
So true. That's so real.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, thank you so much. This was so insightful. Can you just share your social media with the people?
Oh, yes. So my social media is at A Great and Terrible Library. I know it's a mouthful.
No, I love it.
But both on Instagram and TikTok. And I do technically have a YouTube. I just haven't posted on it in like a year. So, but I'm on there, and I would like to, that's a goal actually. I would like to go back to making full YouTube videos. Actually, I really enjoyed doing that, even though the video editing skills is not really my forte, but
okay.
I also don't have the right equipment, but I still, I like being able to talk more and more depth about books. So, but yes, I'm also on YouTube technically, and Threads.
Hey, this is going to be your goal. Start YouTube, and you don't need to start with a camera or anything. Just start. Just do it.
I know.
Really just start.
I just need to follow my own advice, I guess.
Yeah, you just have to start and just do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, seriously, thank you so much. I'll have all of Danielle's information in the description for everybody who's watching.
Yeah. An insightful conversation. So thanks for
all because of you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Just be chill. Sweet. I'm not scary, I promise.